So today we're gonna try and teach you how to do an aerial. I've got some pretty easy drills that you could try, step-by-step instructions, and then later on I'll show you some cool advanced stuff to really elevate that aerial. So step one that you wanna try and do is a running cartwheel, right? At this point, if you're learning an aerial, it's assumed you already know how to do a regular standing cartwheel. So now we're gonna try and put some power behind it. So I'm gonna try and run, hurdle, and cartwheel. Okay. Step number two is going to be trying to get used to not having all of our hands on the ground. So we're gonna take that running cartwheel and we're gonna do it one-handed. You could use the same hand as the leg that you put in front, or you could even try a challenging one using the opposite hand. So I run, one-handed. Okay, I'll try it with my opposite hand now. Run, opposite hand. It'll feel a little funny. All right, step number three is we're gonna try and feel the speed of the cartwheel a little more. So we're gonna use a cheese mat here. I'm gonna put my favorite leg up on the mat. When we eventually do the aerial, we've gotta really push through that leg. So I'm gonna start standing like this in my lunge, and now I'm gonna push, cartwheel down the hill. Additionally, we could do it up the hill to really focus on that push too. So I'm in my lunge, I'm gonna cartwheel. I can try and sit my chest up really fast. Another thing we could try with the cheese mat is having it so your hands are at the top of the hill and your feet land off the edge. So we're gonna run, hurdle, cartwheel up off the edge. Really focus on lifting that chest up at the end. That's gonna be the ending of your aerial. You don't wanna end up looking down at your feet. You're gonna fall on your face. Okay, so if you have a nice steady ledge, one drill that I really love to show my students to work on really jumping and pushing is we're gonna be in a lunge, and I'm gonna try and jump off this foot to my hands, okay? So I jump into the air and I catch myself with my hands. I see a lot of students struggling when they try to do their aerials. They'll dive straight down to their hands. So this helps them get the feeling of jumping first, then reaching and rotating to give them that height. If you want to break it down a little more, you can have them start in a T shape. This makes it a little trickier, and then try and hop to their hands and land back in that lunge shape. All right, traveling over into our boys equipment area, we can get creative. This is also going to help you push off of that favorite leg. So I'm gonna have my mushroom set up here. I'm gonna get onto my pommel horse with my hands, and I'm gonna use this foot to really push and kick my back leg, really drive it high up into the sky, okay? I could try that with my opposite leg too, make sure both of them are strong. Push. And then if I want to, I could try and do little scissor switcheroonies in the air, so I can try and push and switch. Try it again, push and switch, okay? And make sure you're keeping your hips square and facing that pommel horse the whole time. All right, next up, we're getting really close to being able to do the final product of our skill, the aerial. I'm gonna introduce to you guys what I call dive cartwheels and pop cartwheels. Our dive cartwheel is when I wanna do my running cartwheel, and I'm gonna try to put my hands down at the very last second. Okay, so I'm gonna run, hurdle, try not to put them down, and I eventually do. The pop cartwheel is when I'm gonna put my hands down right away, but I'm gonna try and pick them up as fast as I can before my feet land. So I'm gonna run, hands, and pull them up, and try and get right up to my feet here. Now eventually you could try and put those two things together. You could do your dive cartwheel and try and pick them up as quick as possible. Practicing that is gonna eventually really help you get that aerial. So I run, I dive, I pick them up. So I wanna put my hands down for like a split second. Pretend that the floor is like hot lava, right? You don't wanna touch it. All right, now this is one of my favorite drills to teach an aerial, and I love it because all you need is one panel mat. You wanna make sure it's set up in this kind of mountain shape, and make sure it's a pretty thick one because it's gonna have to support our weight. My head is actually gonna go in between here with my shoulders supporting on the sides here. So it'll give me the sensation of doing my cartwheel without hands, which is obviously our goal for the aerial. All right, let's see if I can do it here. Whee! All right, so now we're gonna try and do our aerial up and off the edge of the cheese mat and into our soft foam pit. This is gonna help you give that height that you need to successfully land on your feet, hopefully. So here we go, I'm gonna run, hurdle, foot to the top of the edge, aerial, and I land with my hands up and chest up tall. All right, so guys, now we're at the point where we just gotta try the aerial. The safest way I can recommend doing it is onto a soft landing mat and off of a trampoline, tumble track, a springboard, something that's gonna give you a little oomph into the air, right? So don't forget, when we run into it, we hurdle, we're gonna push really hard off that front leg and drive with that back leg, okay? So I run, I hurdle, and I aerial. All right, guys, once you've successfully gotten your aerial off of something springy, bouncy, like a tumble track or your springboard, it's time to try it on the floor, hopefully a spring floor, okay? And I like to put a soft padding mat just in case something goes wrong. All right, let's see if I can do it. All right, now we're gonna get into some hard challenges to make our aerial even cooler or more elevated. So right now I'm gonna teach you guys how to do a standing aerial. That means we're not gonna run into it. We're just gonna have our foot ready to go and we just fly right into it. So I'm gonna try off the edge of this panel mat. That'll help me give the height I need that the run kinda I'm taking away from. So I'm gonna stand on my nice pretty lunge. I'm gonna stand, aerial, and I land on my feet. Now you can also, as you successfully land it, start lowering some of these panels. Keep trying it until eventually you just do it on the flat floor. All right, another fun challenge we could try is a one leg swing through aerial. So I'm gonna have my favorite leg in front of me. That's gonna be my standing leg. But now I'm gonna get my opposite leg, hold it up in front of me, and when I'm ready, I'm gonna swing it through and drive and do that standing aerial. So I'm gonna lift it up, I swing through, I drive, and if you put your hands down the first few times, that's okay. Just keep trying to push up higher and higher until we achieve our aerial. All right, another fun challenge we could try if you want to get lower to the ground, you could do a kneeling lunge and try to go to your aerial. So I'm gonna have my favorite leg up in front of me, hands up tall. This is gonna help us learn to drive through this leg. Okay, so I push really hard and I try and do my aerial. Okay, if you land on your hands the first few times, again, that's okay. You wanna try and just push yourself a little higher and higher until we miss those hands. Okay, all right, now we're getting a little fancier here. If you want to, we could even start with a fun leg pose. You could do a little leg catch, and then you could try and drive into that standing swing through aerial. Okay, now traveling more across the floor, I know a lot of you wanna learn, how do I connect two aerials in a row? The idea of it is, we do our cartwheel, right? Our aerial, and then you want to turn and chasse, and then you could drive into your next one. So I'll show you that as cartwheels. And of course, as you get better and better at it, they'll turn into aerials. So I can run, cartwheel, chasse, cartwheel.